So as usual, we have a very sizable challenge in front of us to get some musik, this unbelievable document in front of us. But we'll do the best we can. So the Rebbe begins with Gemara Nema. That's a Gemara Masechta Shabbat in Perek Kol Kisvei Daf Kuf Tes Zayin Amud Aleph. But it's written over there in the Gemara Parshas by Yibin Soya Ha'orim. But that's one of the psukim in this week's Parsha. And it deals with how when the Orim used to move. Moshe Rabbeinu used to say certain things to Hashem to waken up and drive away his enemies and facilitate the traveling of the Orim and everything. So the Gemara says that those few psukim which begin with the verse Vayibin Soya Ha'orim is nechsheves kesefer b'fnei atzmai b'Torah. That is reckoned as a sefer Torah, or let's say a chumash or a sefer on its own right. Yeah, even though it's only about 3 or 4 psukim, the Gemara says that it's a sefer on its own right. And what the Gemara is dealing with over there, that in the Sefer Torah, are those few psukim. Vehi ben Sefer Ha'orim, they have two very interesting simonim, one at the beginning and one at the end, which are written in the Sefer Torah, like a nun hafucha, a nun facing the other way at the beginning, and a nun facing the other way at the end. And so the Gemara it deals with the fact of what are those signs at the beginning and at the end of those few psukim. So one opinion, where the Gemara goes into who is that opinion and so on, however, he holds that those simonim are written because this is not really where this passage belongs. This passage belongs in another section of the Sefer, Tahainu, in the beginning of Bamidbar, when we talk about the flag. Over there it would be more fitting for it over there, but it's sort of put in here for certain reasons, but its real place is over there. So that's what's got signs around it. The other opinion which we follow says no, that the signs are put in to show that it's really a separate sefer all on its own. It's not just a separate inyan, because every time that in the Torah there's a new inyan, you don't have these signs. The whole Torah is full of inyanim which progress one after the other, and they're not the same as one the other. And the fact that this is a new inyan and accompanied by these signs, well, that is indicatory that it's a sefer all on its own. Yeah, Umikan, that's what those are the two opinions in the Gemara. Umikan nimta, kemuvan midivra Gemara sham atzmo. From that we see, or we can follow, it works out, שבנוסף לחלוקה הרגילה של התורה לחמישה ספרים, that in addition to the division of the Torah into 5 books, yeah, well, that's the 5 usual books. Harei sheyeshna, behold, there's another chalukah, noisefes. There's an additional interdivision of the Sfarim, l'shiva Sfarim. You get 7 Sfarim of the Sefer Torah altogether. Shekain Sefer Bamidbar atzmai nichlach or nechlach. According to this statement of the Gemara, the Sefer Bamidbar is really not one Sefer, but it's 3 Sfarim. In other words, Bamidbar up till Vehi ben Soya Ha'orim is one Sefer. Vehi ben Soya Ha'orim, the 3 Psukim with another Sefer. And then the rest of Bamidbar till the end is another Sefer. So altogether you got 3 Sfarim. 3 Sfarim together with the other 4 Sfarim is Shiva Sfarim. So he says, Shekein Sefer Bamidbar Atzmai Nechlek L'Shleish Sfarim Ad Parsha Vayi bin Seira. That's one Sefer. Parsha Vayi bin Seira Atzmai, or that Parsha Vayi bin Seira is another Sefer. Umimena V'ad Sof Sefer Bamidbar. That's the 3rd Sefer. So the Rebbe said that's very unusual. We got one way of looking at the Torah as a Chumash. The Torah's Chumash is divided into 5 books. And now we have another way, according to this Gemara, of seeing the whole Sefer Torah that is divided into 7 Sfarim. So the Rebbe said those arouse certain questions. They promote in the general understanding of the whole Parsha, they create questions. So the Rebbe says, Akushia is po inyan, the shilas by way of kasha which arouse are the following. Aleph, the first kasha, keita ditoche. How does it make any sense to say, shall pi chaluka zu, arisha seifa hashishi, Amaschil Yachrei Pasha Vayi bin Soya Poisachas or Poisea Pamurais Shliliim Lechalutim. Now that last Sefer Bamidbar, which is the 6th one now, that starts off with Vayi Ho'am Kimisainanim. The people are like complainers, and that's a very negative thing. It's not a positive. There were negative outcomes from that. So the Rebbe said, that the 6th Sefer is really beginning with something very unpleasant and negative. So the Rebbe said, Kasher b'yachas l'shar sfarim, if we look at this in reference or in comparison to the other sfarim, sheshmom, they have names, and their names nikra ala milim harishonim shebesefer. Yeah, for example, each Sefer is called by early words at the beginning of the Sefer. Parshas, that's the first word. Shmois is also the second word of that Sefer. Chaim Sefer Vayi bin Soya, Sefer Vayi bin Soya is also, that's its name. Yeah, Hari Shukan, yeah, Milim Elu Moedes ala Inyan Ashlili, yeah, Shaparsha Zu, Vayi. He said, however, this last one, of Bamidbar, not the last one altogether, but the 6th Sefer, he said it begins with 3 words, all of which are indicatory of negative in tone, how do you call it? Negative implications. And what are they? He said, Vayi. Yeah, the word Vayi, the Gemara says in Masechta Megillah, that Kol Mogim Shenema Vayi Ena Ela Loshen Tzora. That indicates how do you call it, a beginning of a negative thing which leads to trouble. That's the word Vayi. Over there it's talking about the Megillah, which begins Vayi B'Yamei Achashverosh, but that was the lead up to the Gezerah against it. Therefore that's a Loshen Tzara. Yeah, Ha'om, it's brought down in Rashi in a couple of places, and the Gemara and the Midrashim tell us that when Yidden are referred to as Ha'om, Stam, in the Torah, the people, Ha'om, well that means they're not good people, either the Erev Rav or Rishoyim. It's not referring to good people. So the word Ha'om is a negative term, not a positive thing. They were like complainers, yeah, that's for sure. But they were complaining. After all that had been given to them and all that had been done for them, they complained. And as a one-on, and I think we've discussed it at different stages in these classes, that to complain to Hashem is probably the worst thing you can do. You can say to Hashem that you would ask for more brachas, or you'd like a bigger bracha, or you'd like assistance in certain very key matters, and so, but you're not allowed to complain. You must never say, but this is what I'm putting up with, that's not good, and I'd like you to look after it, there'll be something better. That you must never say to Hashem. That you're saying that if you were running things, you would do things better. Yeah, that's a very, very serious pagam. So the word kibusein in him is a very negative word. So you got all three words that open that sefer, are all them negative. So where are you going to find the opening word? So what's going to be the opening word? So the Rebbe said the division in that way is very unusual. But the sixth sefer of this new division doesn't have a name. It can't be given a name because it's all very negative implication. So that's one general question. Beit, the second general question is, Mahi yochein hamashmois hamiyuchedet shel chalukas atera l'shiva svarim. What is the implication special? There must be some very particular and special implication of dividing the Torah into 7 books. Me'eva l'chaluka haragila, above, over and above the usual division of 5. Everybody would appear to be happy with 5. What is the inyan of Shiva? Why all of a sudden a new division of the Torah into 7? So we have to understand, says the Rebbe, the interrelation of 7 versus 5. That you can have a division of the whole Torah into 5, or you can have a division of it into 7. The third question is, given Parshas Bahaloishcho, Yezu, Yizu, Amichalechas, as a sefer Bamidbar l'Shleisha Elohim, since Parshas Bahaloishcho, but that's the parsha where we are now. That is the parsha where it occurs, this whole division into 3 Sforim, or Bamidbar, Ad parsha Vayi ben Tzera, parsha Zu, Atzmo, Uliacham Mikain, the Vayi Hom Kamitzayim, 3 Sforim. Nira sheyesh kesher v'shaylas toitnias bein chalukas haTorah l'shiva Sforim, the Parshas Bahaloishcho. Well, that would imply, since this division into 3 appears inside the Parsha called Bahaloishcho, well, that would tend to indicate that this division of the Torah into 7, well, that's got a special connection with Bahaloishcho, but that's where it occurred. So we need to understand what is the speciality of that division into 7 to Parshas Bahaloishcho. Yeah, but Parshas, says the Rebbe, in simple terms, one can answer that question. Yeah, we could say that B'Menorah, which is the central theme of the beginning of Parshas Bahaloishcho, is HaNeros, Yeshno Shiva Ner, the Menorah, the base of Mikdash had 7 Neros. Of a man, 7 Neros link up with 7, in a general way at least, with 7 Sifrei Torah. So the Rebbe said in simple terms, one could maybe answer that, and they would be connected, Shiva HaSforim Torah. They would be connected, now 7 Sforim that we have. So the Rebbe Achadayin, Yesh Lahoven Shashaychas HaToitniyah. That's like a simple symbolic connection. That's got 7 and that has 7. But the Rebbe said our approach is always to find what is the inner content of the message. So he said there must be an inner contentio, message and connection with the inyan of Bahaloishcho to the 7 Sifrei Torah. So we need to understand what is this shaychus ha'toitnias be'inyan zeh gufa in this matter in its own right. What are the implications of the deep inner content of this matter? So the Rebbe is now going to approach these questions. We're going to begin with the concept of aliyah. We see that when you light the candles on the menorah, well, that's called in the Torah Bahaloishcho, when you are elevating the light. And that's a characteristic in a candle, or the light of a candle, that when you light it, it goes up in general flame and fire, they tend to move upwards. So they indicate the idea of an aliyah. So that's going to be like part of the central theme that we're going to be dealing with. In this idea of going up itself, Rashi makes a very special point, but the Rebbe is going to link that with the whole idea of aliyah, and we're going to get this whole amazing development that we have in front of us. So he says, Bia ha'inyan b'hakdoma al pi ha'yidua, shekol hinyoni ha'torah ha'im ha'irua la'yehudi b'avedas Hashem. Every inyan in the Torah, no matter what it is an ha'irua, an instruction to every yid in his avedas Hashem. Torah or miloshen ha'irua. In this parsha itself, in the Zohar HaKodesh, in Parsha Parshas, in the Zohar HaKodesh, the Zohar asks, what is the word Torah? What is the name for the whole thing that Hashem gave Am Yisrael? And it was 2,000 years before the Bria Sa'elam, and so it was by Hashem, and so that's the whole inyan of the Torah. What is the word Torah? What does that imply? So the Zohar Kodesh says that the word Torah, the root of the word Torah, is from the word lahorot, that it got to instruct. And that's the word Torah, it's like an absolute noun from the word to instruct, lahorot, lahoirot. And hoira'o is a noun from that. So Torah is like another form of a usage of a noun from the word hora'ah. And hora'ah means instruction. So he said that's miloshen hoira'ah. Kol shein kasher medubar al inyonei hamishkan. If Torah is in general like that, then how much more so when we're talking about things connected with the Mishkan in the desert and later the Beis HaMikdash in Yerushalayim. Shehu inyan kloli b'avedas Hashem aprotiyah shel kol Yehudi. The menorah is a general inyan for each individual year. How do we know that? Because it's written when Moshe was given the commandment to make the Mishkan, Hashem said to him, Vasuli Migdash v'shochanti b'seichom. Is a simon, it's one on the lashon of the Shloh HaKodesh. V'shochanti b'seichom, b'tei kol echad ve'echad miYisrael. Teichom means I want to dwell in each and every year. It should have been written in Parshas, Shochanti b'seichoi, I will dwell in that Mishkan. Well, since it's written Shochanti b'seichom, well, that's an indication that the dwelling of Hashem in the Mishkan means that He's going to dwell individually by every year. Shochanti b'seichom. Avamela, that means b'tei kol echad ve'echad miYisrael. So that means that anything in the Mishkan is supposed to appear as a central factor in the life and the service of every individual year. So that reason, of course, how much more so in the lighting up of the menorah, because the menorah without the lights is not really carrying out its function. You have to have a menorah in order to have light. He said, if we're going to say that the Mishkan is a central thing in each individual year, then the Ika is the lighting of the menorah, not just having a menorah, but making sure it gives off light. That's a whole inyan kloli and principle in the Mishkan, and therefore in the life of every Jew, but only if it's a light, only if you lit it. Rabbi says the Rebbe, Limud was there. He said, and to understand what is the implication of this whole limud, you have a small, you have to make an effort, man. We're right down to two people. So he says, Limud bazehu, al pi divrei Rashi ala makom. So the Rebbe said, since we're talking about what is important to each individual yid, and we're saying that the purpose of the Mishkan was to make a Mishkan in each individual yid, and the Eibusher would dwell there. So he said, therefore we need to see what does Rashi say about that. Because Rashi also said that he's coming to teach the simple meaning of the Pesukim. So, and he writes in several places, Rashi, that he's writing for the Ben Chomesh Le Mikra. He's writing for a small boy who's only 5 years old and just beginning to learn. Which means that Rashi's Pirush embraces all the massive populace of the Jewish people. But once you've turned 5 years old, then you're already shy to Rashi. But how much more so if you've already grown up? Yeah, then for sure he's talking to you. So that means that Rashi is like all-embracing, straight, simple implication of what the Torah is all about. As if you want to find an indication, but again, to serving Hashem, how each person is going to build his own personal Mishkan, then a good idea is to look in Rashi. If you get what Rashi says about it, then you'll be able to understand. And it's very interesting that in reference to this whole point, the Rebbe brings down, he quotes from the Shara Gilgulim of all things of the Arizal. As for down over there, the Arizal said that in every level of the Torah, Pshat, Remez, Drush, and Sod, there are 600,000 Pirushim in each of those levels. 600,000 Pirushim. And he said, why? Because the number of basic neshomas by Yidden is 600,000. There's a lot of sub-neshomas, or the main source neshomas. The author brings it in Tanya, 600,000. So that means that every Yid has got a portion in Pshat, he's got a portion in Remez, Drush, and so on. That means that there's 600,000 different forms of Pshat, Remez, Drush, and so on. Yeah, that's what he writes over there in the Arizal. Which means that each individual has got a certain pirush or Pshat, according to Pshat or Remez or Drush or so on, which is, it relates specifically to him. Therefore, we need to understand how they all interrelate. And in the footnotes over there, they bring up that problem in the Shara Gilgulim. How are these different things sort of going to, is each one understand a bit differently, or does each one sort of have the ability to understand the other one's Pshat or whatever? But what it implies is that there's an absolute heck of a lot of Pshatim, both in Pshat and Remez, and 600,000 minimum, according to each individual Yid. So that bears out the whole thing here that the Rashi, that the Rebbe is talking about, that each Yid is meant to have a Mishkan, and he's meant to have his own menorah. He's got to light up his own menorah, because that bears out the fact that every person has the Torah in all of its different levels in a way which relates especially to him. And he's got to learn and bring out in Torah those nuances in Torah which are special to him. And like I think we learned last time or the time before, that there's a in that we say at the end of Shema Nesrei, saying Chalkeinu b'Seirosel. Everybody has a chelik in Torah. I mean, there's a portion in the Torah which is like particularly related to you. If you work hard and you have a schus, you'll find your particular thing which is referring to you. However, if we want to get an indication, and we should know what is the general direction, then we have to learn Rashi. He's the one who refers to everybody. He takes everybody as much as he can into the words of his pure. So what does Rashi have to say? הלימוד בזה הוא על פי דברי רש"י על המקום, שכיוון שפירוש רש"י נכתב לכל אחד מישראל. Pirush Rashi was written for each individual Yid, including all the levels and the heights of study by Yid. Afilu leben chomesh aloyim et pashutay shel Mikra appealed to a boy of 5 years old who was just beginning to learn the simple meaning. Rashi is also for Yeah, for him. Areisha Hero Claudia Zu Tmuna Badibri Rashi Bamako, or the general direction that we're looking for to give us an indication. What is the whole menorah and the elevation of the lights? What does that mean to each individual? If we learn Rashi, then we got it, because Rashi, he's giving the simple meaning for every person b'Yisrael. Ba'areischo es haneres oimei Rashi. On that pasuk, Rashi says, Al Shem Shahalahav Oile Kosu Bahadlakosun Loshen Aliyah. So Rashi is metated, the word Bahaloischo is from the word Aliyah in Loshen Kodesh, and Aliyah in Loshen Kodesh means elevation, right, going up. Also, we see that the lighting of a candle is through an effort made by somebody who has another candle, right? He has another source of light, and he brings that source of light to the wick of the candle. So you've got the wick waiting, it's ready, but it doesn't have light, and it's approached by another light in the hand of another influence, and he puts that light on, and then that light starts going up. So Rashi says you have to wait till that light starts going up in a way that it doesn't need the other light, which is you, let's say. It doesn't need the other light anymore, but it will be able to go up on its own. It'll be able to keep burning upwards with its own potential and its own energy. So that's what he says. That's one point. That first of all, why do we use the word aliyah? Because the flame of a fire tends to go upwards. That's first thing. Shetzorik lahadlik, and why do we say, there has to be bahaloitzcho, in a way that you have to light it, but then afterwards you're going to leave. You're not going to be there the whole time. So he said, Shetzorik lahadlik, ad shetahei shalaheves oilo me'eleha. What you have to be there with the lighting influence that you have, until there'll be a flame which is that it will go in its own strength. It won't need you anymore, and it'll be able to go up and be powerful on its own right. We see Rashi tells me two things. That first of all, the general idea of lighting a candle is connected with aliyah, and then there's a special thing that when you light a candle, it's dependent on you, and the whole candle needs you to make it start. But you have to keep there, you have to remain there. But once you see that it's become of its own power to go upwards, in other words, to use an expression in English, become independent of your promotion power, then you're free. You can withdraw, and then the candle has to continue working and going upwards with its own power, and that will apparently, as long as there's oil and as long as there's a pasila, it will continue doing that. In other words, that there's a permanence in that, which is in the actual flame itself. Which more or less has no limitation. It's just ready to keep going as long as there's a feed for the things it needs, right? In other words, that if the flame will go out, that's not because of the flame. If the flame will go out, that is due to other factors outside the flame. But the essence flame itself will just keep independently going up the whole time. So that's what Rashi tells me. So that's a very profound idea, and you can already begin sort of understanding what Rashi is referring to. You have to have a mashpiyah or a teacher or whatever, and his task is to make your light turn on, but you got your own light. You have your own light that belongs to you, and that's your divine light that you've got to give forth. And he has to wait, however, until he sees that you are able to be independent from him, and you're able to keep giving light with your own power, with your own, and that doesn't have any limitation. It's dependent on other technical factors, but as far as you are as a flame, you're on your own, but you're very capably on your own. But that's obviously the muscle which is forming here. So therefore he says, האירועים עניין זה מתייחסת לכלל עבודת השם של יהודי. So the instruction to us, which comes from this matter, relates to the generality of serving Hashem on the part of a Yid. He said, Al Yehudi lahadlik es nishmosei. A Yid has got to make sure that his neshama is how do you call it, burning. It's got a flame. Ner Hashem nishmas odom. That's a pasuk in Mishlei, which says that the neshama of a Yid is a ner. So just like a ner, it's got to burn and give off light. You as a neshama have got to do that. Yeah? But oyer ha-Torah, what sort of light is it? The oyer of the Torah. Ner mitzvah v'Torah oyer. The actual light that goes off from the candle, that is the Torah. He said, kasher b'oyer zeh meyer kol ha'olam. He said, and what it means, that when he reaches with that light, an ability to light up the whole world, yeah, hamira ala inin shel chibur, kol inyan ha'olam im kedusha, but that's indicative that he's tying together and joining together all matters of the world with the inner kedusha. Yes, shehi arei matoros kol habriya. So the Rebbe, that is the ultimate aim and purpose of the whole Bria, is to light up the whole world. And what does it mean to light up the whole world? A lasting effect, not just to make a bit of light and everybody is happy for a few minutes and then it's gone. The whole meaning is to make the world like your flame. Like your flame is burning, you've got to bring that power of independence, Kedusha, into the world, which means that you've got to make a chibur, how do you call it, a permanent joining between the world as an object or a created object with the inner Kedusha. That's what you're supposed to do. So he said, Shehi harei matoros kol habriya. La'aseh lo yizbara dira b'taftoineh. But that's the whole idea of what the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, B'Shem HaMedrash. La'aseh dira b'taftoineh. What is it, dira? Where the Eibishter is there. That's his place. And he's there, permanently and forever. And the whole world has become a vessel for dwelling of the Eibishter. A chibur between Elokus and the world. That's what it means to have a light. That's what it means to be a neshama with a light. So the Rebbe says, however, in that, in particularly, there's a further instruction. He said there's got to be the flame in a way that it goes up on its own. Eileho means its own individual power and its own individuality. Milim elu melandes al oifen hadlo. They come to tell us, how am I supposed to light up my neshama? So let's examine each of those three words, and then we'll get some sort of picture. What is the hero? What does it mean that the way it's lit, it's going to come to a point where it's able to work purely on its own independent power? So he said, Shalhivas, the etzem word Shalhivas, well, that's Meira al Klolas Ha'inyan. Well, that's indicative of the whole idea of lighting something up. Yeah, Al HaYudi lo mutol liyatzer es-haner. אלא להדליק הנר קיים, להדליקו, סליחה, אלא להדליקו. So the Rebbe said, you don't have to create the whole world. You don't have to make everything. You don't make your own neshama. Your ner is already there. Your ner is already there. What is your job? Your job is to light it. You're going to light the ner. And he said that's the whole idea of shalhevas. Shalhevas indicates you bring fire to something which is already there. He said haner kayam, meaning the oil and the wick and everything are already there. Umuchan lahadlok, that's your goof and shapam, everything's already there. Ukeish יש רק להעלוש בוי את השלהבת. You have to bring and make go up in that the flame. So he said, הנשמה קיימת, והתורה והמצוות ישנם. Your neshama is there. The ner is already there. It's together with the good. And so he said the Torah and the mitzvahs are also there. And through those factors of the Torah and the mitzvahs, you've got to light up your shalhivas. You've got to bring the flame to your already existing ner. So he says, oila. What is oila? What does that indicate to me? Malamed al oifen avoida. Oila is not the way you light it and what is required to actually light it, but that's already talking about how is the avoida going to be carried out once it's already there. So he said, Malamed al oifen avoida. Beklal yesh chiluch bein amida lahalicha. Yeah, generally speaking, Chassidus makes a difference between standing and going. And in the Haftarah, as a matter of fact, of this week's Parshas, it's written, that you as Neshomas, you're going to go between the Malachim, but the Malachim are like standers. They don't have, in other words, the Neshomas through the Yerida Lamata, they become Mahalchim. They are progressing and going all the time. And the Malachim, despite their great levels, they are like standards. They have a certain status quo. And therefore they're called Amida. That's called Amida. And for Ilo, the idea of progress and continuing going upwards and adding, well, that's called Halikha. That's called going. So he said, Yehudi Yochol Lavedus Hashem, At Boivin Shela Amida Bamakom. A Yid can be serving the Eibishter, but that's in a way of standing. He's not really moving, he's not progressing and making a whole new situation and status in his Avodah from day to day. It's like a sort of how do you call it, a bit of a dreamy sort of a game, but he manages to keep it going, let's put it that way. So he said, Lalo, Hishtaparas Tamidias Miyomla, from no self-improvement, a continuous self-improvement from day to day. In other words, the Torah says, everything is new, so you've got to serve the Eibishter in a new way every day. But if you're just without that newness every day, then you're standing in one place. The famous Gemara. And I said to Brachas that after the whole story there with Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Yeshua and everything, the Gemara says that in the base matters, they would convey a cloud that you have to go up every day, you've got to improve. The learning has got to, elevate every day in the base of metal. It's got to go upwards. And the Gemara learns it even from connected, with Pasukim in connection with candles and so on, that you have to be in the oven von Meilimba Kodesh. And we bring that to Gabi Chanukah. That's the time of Beis Hillel why we add every day an extra light. We don't start off with the 8 and go down. We go because of Meilimba Kodesh. You've got to always be adding and elevating. Nidresses hoisofa to medias. Well, that means a continuous addition. Eskachi said, well, that's a Klav Gadol in the River's whole approach, that a Yid must never stand, statically in one place. You must always be on the move. He said, Ela Tomidu Batnua Shel Halicha. He's going. I remember what I said from Maimus, there's an old like Imra in Russian. The two people meet like at a parting of the ways, and in Russian. And one says to the other, where are you going? So he said, oh, you see that monastery? I hope to be reaching soon this and this place. So he says to the other guy, and do you mind me asking, where are you going? So he said, I don't know where I'm going. He said, I'm not really, he said, but he said, I'm going. I don't know exactly where, but I'm going. So the other guy said to him, Ashra, happy are you? He said, we don't know where you're going, we don't know if you're going to get there. He said, but you're moving, you're going. I'm going, but I'm finishing shortly. I thought it was very remarkable. I heard it. And he said it over to me in Russian. It sounded very beautiful. Anyway, he says, yeah, Ayid is always in a halicha. We say to me, yeah, can't. He said, it's even more than that. He said, you've got to be loishtam halika, not just an ordinary type of halika. El aliyah, you've got to be going upward. You heard in America of the famous quip, upwardly mobile. Have you ever heard of that? You've got to be upwardly mobile. So the Rebbe said, it's not enough to be mobile, you've got to be going. You've got to be going upwards. So he said, Kan yesh kwa chidush ba'ivun halika atzmai. This is a chidush now, not in the general Veda, and not in, it's got to be a flame, it's got to be a big flame, and that. Here we're talking about the etzem aliyah itself. That even in the halika, what sort of halika does it have to be? It's got to be a elevating, upwardly mobile aliyah. So we're talking in the etzeminim of moving. What sort of moving? And he said, yesh v'halika hi la'erech u'la'reichel. He said, there's many types of halika. What they go, length and breadth. Yeah, they go like on the level. He said, so he said, Habiyoima ba'isa ramah. What that means to say on the same basic level, but you're just expanding. You're adding more details and then expanding. Oisa sug aveda, it's still basically the same type of aveda. Ella, but even yoisa racho, yeah, you broaden it, but it's all the same basic sug. Very profound. It's the same basic, but you've added a bit here and there. He said, im yoisa sniffing. More, sort of additions and branches. He said, Aliyah, mevatei sug halicha. He said, Aliyah indicates the type of going, a type and a form of going. Sheboi oilim midaga achas ladaga gavoya mimeno lechalutin. If you're still part of you down in the, let's say you're going up the ladder, and you got 1 foot on the old place and you just put 1 foot up into the new level, then you haven't reached the new level in the form of an aliyah. And when you've gone from one to another, then you're up there, you're no longer down here. But that implies an aliyah lechalutin. That's an absolute aliyah, from one level to the other. So he said, Ein zu oisa aveda. It's not the same type of aveda at all. Rak behekev godel yoter, it's not just the same sort of aveda, but with a bit more addition. He said, aveda nailis lekamre. It's a completely elevated type of aveda, misug achar lekamre, from a completely different type and form of aveda. So now the Rebbe is coming to another very, very ikeh in the whole inyan, and that is the word eileho. What eileho means, not just that you're going up and you're going and you're progressing and you're going and everything, but that's all your own power. Once upon a time it was with the assistance of somebody else. Now it's all you. You're going in your own koyach as a ner, not with a ner which was put close to you and helping you. So he says, Me'aliyah melamdeinu inyan ikri beyosa b'mahus avedas hahadloka. He said, this is another inyan which teaches us something very essential and very, definitional in the makeup of the idea of Vedas, of lighting your light. He said, "Adloka tzrika liyos ad kei kach shehadova hanidlach," that the thing which is being lit, nasa kvar meya me'atzmei. It's able to be meya in its own self. He said, "Einu tzorik oid lahamadlik." He doesn't need the madlik any. Oh, you can't start off unless you have a madlik. Says so the Rebbe says that a person has different types of madliks. He has even his own parents at the beginning. Yeah, there is madlikim. His parents, and he said then he goes to Cheder and he has a Amalamad in the Cheder, and then later, higher than that, he has a Malamed Yotegava who teaches him higher things. Then he goes and he has a Rosh Hashiva and a Mashpia later on, and then he says he has a Mashpia Ikri for himself. Somebody he has this Mashpia. So he says all these people are holding their candle close to him and helping him to, but he said the ultimate tachlis, the ultimate purpose that Rashi indicates with that word Eileho is that you have got to reach a point where you're able to elevate yourself with your own power, the own individual power of your own neshama, to put it in the Old English, what only you can give. So the Rebbe says, Uber Parshas, Bavedas Odom, Lamrei Shavedas Hashem Shaloi Mushpach Alidei Garamim Shainim. Yeah, even though your Veda has been affected by different factors. Yeah, he said, Echel me'akodesh Baruch Hu. He said the first must be you have as a Kodesh Baruch Hu, because he's the third Shuta. Yeah, the Gemara Masechta says that there are three Shutafim. Yeah, the parents and the Kodesh Baruch Hu. So, the Avis is like, and he's the Ikar. So he's like the first. You know, if he hadn't intervened, then you wouldn't have come down here with cloud. So he says, Echel me'akodesh Baruch Hu, Shu Amani Eloi. He gives you the counsel. Just the fact that you're there, the fact that you've come into the world, and you're a living person, that's all from the Eivishter. So he said, listen, it's not just that the Eivishter gives you everything you got. He gave Torah and mitzvahs to Sinai. So Hashem is a very big mashpia. He gave us the basis of everything. He said also your environment, but that includes teachers and educators. What they bring the person also very meaningfully to Avodas Hashem. He said, when it comes to the final pitch line, a very special type of going, a very special type of Aveda, but it's got to be made a leiho. You got to do it you got to do it yourself. So you should realize that if you look carefully in Tanya, in many places, I haven't got the prayer and the ability at this moment to go in, but I can give you an example of certain places in Tanya. We could call it Chassidus. You'll meet up with it that in the Zohar Kodesh or even in the Gemara or in other places, it's mashma that if you get into a certain difficulty or situation, or you need to be purified, they'll do it from heaven for you. They wait for a while, but ultimately from heaven they do it. And Chassidus says no, you shouldn't wait for heaven to do it. You have to do it yourself. That's a very profound and basic teaching in the whole of Chabad. That the Rebbe wanted that Chassidim should be, clever. That they should get in first, and how's the old expression? Said, use your do-it-yourself kit. Do it all yourself. And it's an amazing thing. You should realize that it's a very basic factor in a lot of things. So I can give you now a good dogma. but I just, you know, I don't want to, but just very quick. At the beginning of Perikov Test, the Alter brings it, if you can't bring the light of your neshama into your body, so mavachin like you. So if you look that up in the Zohar, that's brought down that from heaven they give him all sorts of, you know, patch from heaven that he should chaf himself. And it even deals with the fact that what sort of people get it more than others. You can even be a tzaddik, meaning a tzaddik, lavdavki, like a tzaddik gomer in Tanya. Nonetheless, from heaven, they want to shake you up and get you to really have the light of the neshama, the light of kedusha, lighting up your body and so on. So he says that that's the lashon of the Zohar. Now, if you look in Tanya, he quotes the mavachin part of it, but he says immediately, he says, Hainu, sha'odam yikva la'atzmei zmanim lahashpiras atzmei. He writes that you've got to make times to think where you're holding in the world and to beat yourself. You've got to do the mavachin. Don't wait for them to do it from heaven. You've got to do it. And so the quotations are only the actual process of the implication in a lot of places is that process will be done by, or is done after a certain point from heaven. So Chassidus doesn't want that. Chassidus says you got to get in first, and as the expression ever, do it your. So it's a very profound in it. So that's the same thing here. At the beginning, you need parents, you need educators, you need this, you need that. But after a certain point, you got to be a leiho. You got to be working with your own power and your own inner content. Yes, so he says, "Tzricha liyes at pasevas odava al shalevas tzricha liyes elamei leiho." Avidos einena yichola lehishoen leoilo ala koiches achitonim hamisayim, the outside forces that are helping you. Ela olov lahagia labaseit ladaga bohu beatzmei ma'iyah. He himself is shining. Not just he's doing things, but he is giving off light. That's the inner light, a light that's going up to the point that he gives off all the light that light is able to give off. And he gives it. Not later on he's going to say that even Aaron HaKohen, Aaron HaKohen used to light the lights in, or at least Alpha Point, ideally speaking, Aaron HaKohen, other Kohenim could also light. There's, Aaron HaKohen helps you at a certain beginning point. But after that, his whole kavanah, and he can go all the way down to simple people, and he helps them also. But the kavanah is that they've all got to get cracking and do it yourself. Very, very profound meaning. It's not stuff. You should realize it's hidden as gewaltig, unbelievable message. So he said, Olo, you have to reach a level like Gila Basofla, Daga Boy Huba Atzmai. So he himself, that lotion, who Atzmai, Maya, doesn't just mean that, you know, he goes through the roads. That means that he actually, Be'etzim Atzmai, gives up light. He is now like the whole source of the light. And the matlik has withdrawn. The matlik has withdrawn. Which means that, and that's the whole concept of the bavitch. The whole idea of mashpia and so on is only to make people get cracking. I had to say to make them get moving. Or they each have their own light. Ne'er Hashem nishmas odom. The neshama by every yid is a neshama elokis achelech lakam nemar. Omer, if you give that the beginning and you wake it up out of its state of dormancy, then it's got its own unbelievable koyach. There's once a There's once a sikha from the Rebbe, where the Rebbe said that every year there's an atom bomb. Every year it can explode and blow up the whole world. He's a chelak. All you got to do is reveal that possibility in him. And that's the whole inyan of Baha'lo Ishchol. Yes, I know. The kavanah is to elevate. But he's got to, ultimately, he's got to elevate and light up the whole world on his own credit. And that's a tremendous yisod. And that goes back to what the Rebbe said at the first Farbrengen in Shvat. You remember, Toshin Nudal. The Rebbe said that he doesn't refuse to help. He's prepared to help. Chabad demands that everybody's got to do his own work. You know the famous Farbrengen. In Shvat Toshin Nudal. That's what the Rebbe said. And that's an akuda which is hidden here, Bahar B'Makayim. That's an akuda atmiya, which is hidden. But Moshel Azeh says the Rebbe Miravu Talmud, or it's understandable that the most realistic Moshel for this is the idea of a Rav and a Talmud. He says the emissary Rav doesn't want that the Talmud should stay under his wing, Kodimei Chayim. If he wants to have a kesser with his Rav and every now and then get some encouragement and all that sort of thing, and they should have a kesser, that's yeah. But he doesn't have to be talui in the Rav. On the contrary, if the Rav teaches in the right way, he's going to build him into an independent koyah b'fnei atmi. So he said, Moshe Lazem Mirav Talmud, Shaf Sharav, Manik LaTalmud, Eskora Kalim. He gives him all the Mekadim, or Malama, they say, Esoyinia B'Shleimus. If he's a good Rav, he teaches the Inyan the way it is. Perfection. He doesn't teach you part of it and hide the rest. He teaches the whole Inyan B'Shleimusi. HaMatorahi, what is the aim? What is the ultimate purpose of the whole Inyan? Shebasoi B'Shol Dova, Yisamik Atalmid Ba'atzmoi B'Inyan, he's got to be able to ultimately take that Indian in his own seichel and his own oisias, he's got to give out his own letter. And when he does, that's a sign that he was a Talmud or Terahashli. But if he can only give over what the Lord told him, that he's a Talmud, but he's not necessarily a emissary shleimus of a Talmud. A emissary shleimus of a Talmud is that he's able to give out the Inyan, both basically and even be megala the Inyan in his own oishit. But even Klodi, Zui Hareya Nakuda, Klodi Shomat Torah, said that we now understand the whole in what it is Matan Torah. He said, B'dugmas Harav, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was like the Rav of the whole Jewish people. Nosen is a Torah Kula Israel, like it's brought down. Matan Torah is not going to be another time. Even Torah's Moshiach, everything Moshiach is going to be Megalah. It was all hidden. It was all there in Matan Torah. There's not going to be a second Matan Torah. However, he said, Ak Yisrael, Shahim Talmidim, Amikabli Me'arav. Allah Neshomet Yisrael. They were there at Matan Torah, Tzrikim Lamel B'Cheches Atzmam. You got to work hard. And that's the Inafi Yigia Satera. It's expected over here that you work tremendously. Yeah, so when the Abisha gave the Torah, Matan Torah, it wasn't the purpose of Matan Torah that here you are guys, and if you just look after this will look after you, and everything will be fine. You don't have to worry anymore. On the contrary, he gave you the Torah in such a way that the implication is you got to get moving now. You got the Torah now. You got to start learning and horoving in the Torah until the point where the Chadesh B'Torah. Well, you remember we learned last week the whole idea in the Dua Malas, the whole idea of Chidah. But the Indian of Chidah is also there in the Torah that was given. But this is a new Indian which came out through your year. It's not new in the sense it hasn't been there before, but it's new in the sense that it was never Begolo before. אבל Mela, I see you don't remember what we learned last week.
I just heard and understood, yes, I understood.
Yeah. What a difficult business is teaching business. Yeah. Have to know. I remember once I was learning with my mashpia, and he mentioned the Indian that we'd learned, not that Shabbos, but 2 Shabbos before that. And I hesitated for a moment, but then I got it. He said, that's not, he said, you have to know what we learned. He said, immediately on the spot, he said, you have to know what we already learned. Yeah, there's no messing around. So that's what I tried to do. So therefore he says, Chadish b'Torah, v'adrabah, v'even more. Achrei sh'Torah nitna lahem, harei rak Chayim ha'koivim bo. After the Torah was given to them, they are the ones that fixed the rules. Mahi alicha. It's one other story in Bava Metzia, how the Abish says, where's Rabbi Bar Nachmani? What does he say? And then there was the story about Rabbi Eliezer and everything. They said, it could be that you got a very good swara of what you say. But since we are we're the ones that are the wrong. And the Abish, he said, I'll be a wrong. We got to decide. They have an Elias on the show and ask the Abish, what is it? No, we got to decide. In other words, that so much that the Eibishter place it in the koyach of each individual that they are the ones that ultimately decide what is the given of the Torah. So he said they are the ones that are fixing what is the alika. How can you do it? Shaloi b'shamayim. That's a famous statement in Bava Metzia that with Rabbi Eliezer. It's not in heaven. V'aloch hanikvas rak al pi Masha Posco, Am Yisrael, Al Pi Klole HaPesika B'Torah. They paskin according to what is the Klole HaPesakim down here in the Bezdin Shalom. I like the whole story with Rabbi Bar Nachmani. The Abish said, is he there? And he paskin. That's the way the Pesach Halova Islamites. So he said, V'adova mitpateh b'protiyas. Haim b'limud ha'Torah shel ha'odam ha'proti, v'haim b'kiyum ha'mitzvah. He said, this cloud, that you've got to become oila me'aleya, you've got to have your own, how do you call it, gushing, power of your own nishmas odam, and your own chilach elakam mimal. That's got to be working inside you. He said that works in both fields, both in learning Torah and in keeping mitzvah. He said, "B'limud Torah, it's got to become like a fixed law inside you, as if it were engraved inside you. Ad kedei kach, eitz al ha'odam, al yidei ribuy ha'chazores, that he keeps repeating itself to him. Ad shehu kvar munach, b'sichloi b'oivim muklat. It becomes clear, absolutely clear in every detail, and in this whole thing that he's got to, ultimately, he's got to do it himself, and it's got to become his personal inyan through his own aliyah. He doesn't need lalamdoi, the one who taught him, he doesn't need him anymore. It's already elevating with its own power. He said, how does that express itself in keeping mitzvahs? He said, Odom margi lesatzmei ad kedei kach b'mitzvahs she'adova kvar nase lifshoi leposhet likach leposhet v'rogil etzloi. He said, you got to reach as a level in keeping mitzvahs that it becomes like a part of your whole being, that you go for that mitzvah. We're not just talking about, we don't mean automatic, how do you call it, mitzvahs anoshim mulumata. But what we mean is your body is so trained that it will go for the mitzvah, even for teva, outside ha'yizatay. So he says, "Befinas ergo nasa teva," what the Alter Rebbe brings up in Perek Yud Dalet, that there's what's called teva sheni, that you can work so much that you have like a second teva, that you're nimshut to mitzvahs mitzad your automatic aspect of yourself, but it's really coming from a deep and tremendous involvement. So he said, Kedivri HaGemara. Actually, this is not a Gemara, it's a Yerushalmi. When they say Gemara, they mean the Yerushalmi. What's written over there? Ki mota l'moidim mi nafshei kora. That when the Shliach Tzibah came to Moedim, he used to bow down of his own. Now this is a story in the Yerushalmi that's told by Rebbe Chia. And Rebbe Chia, he was a Talmud of Rebbe. He was a very great person. He was a Talmud Chova of Rebbe. Very, very great person. So it's written that Rebbe Chia said about himself that he's machzik teva to himself. He holds that it's a big Indian that he reached such a level. Right? That's what he said about himself. But what is it so big that when the Shliach Tzibah came to Moedim, he just automatically bent down. He didn't have to deliberately do it. He just automatically. Yekimota l'moedim mi nafshei kora. Mi nafshei means himself. So it comes along over there. It's put down in a Tosfos. It's not put down in our Gemara, but Tosfos in Masechta Brachos and in Masechta Shabbat, he mentions it. And Tosfos said, "What's the godless?" I mean, he just got so used to what he was listening to, the Shliach Tzibah, that whenever he heard Moedi, he just sort of bowed down. You follow? So Tosfos says, what is the, Tosfos asks the question, what's the grade? So Chassidus, the Alter Rebbe, has a mimer in Tokus on the base, and then it's brought down in different places in Chassidus. On the contrary, you have to understand what the Yerushalmi said. What the Yerushalmi means to say that Reb Chia affected his physical body in such a way that whenever there was a moedim, whenever there was something going, showing extra bittul telekus, he just automatically, his whole being just did it, of its own. And that's a very high madriga. כאשר הוא מגיע לברכס מועדים, שעוז יש לקרויה, הרי הגוף כבר קורא מעצמי מחמס רגילוס. So that's really a very high madriga, which is brought down in Silas as an explanation. כלומר, הדבר כל כך רגיל ופשוט, עד שהוא כבר נעשה מאלוהו. It happens from its own self. In other words, even though there were things getting in the way, and things were different on that, but you would automatically, your body would just automatically put on tefillin, or would automatically put on tzitzis. It wouldn't need to be pushed. You wouldn't just sit down and say, oh my God. I'll give you an example. I heard it from himself. There was a Yid in Bnei Brak, Reb Zalman Leib Asturin. He's already not amongst the living. He had only one leg. He used to work with a crutch. And he wore a crutch, and he was from Russia. And he was in the battle against Stalingrad. He was in the Russian army that defended Stalingrad against the Nazis. And that's where they stopped them. You know that. It was unbelievable, terrible battle. So he said that in the worst situations, in the trenches, and there was snow and ice, and it was sakana to get out of the trench, because you might slip or you might fall, who knows where, break yourself into pieces, etc. Again, break yourself into pieces. But he said he used to get up out of the trench, even though it was against all the orders, and it was terribly masakan, and he used to put on, he had a small bag with his, he had a small bag with his tefillin, and he said he used to slide out of the trench up onto where the enemy could see him. The snow could have broken his legs or whatever, and he used to put on that. So when I heard that, you follow? You get some idea of what it means. He is devoted, he's into mitzvah. You know, that's what the Rebbe means. Your body is going to be just so into that. That's what he says. He said, Ein zeh nase bo'im shel mitzvahs anoshim l'moda. Chas v'sholem. This doesn't mean that he does it just in a way of habitual, what do you call it, habitually. He said, Kasher ha'odam moises ze'raf mitei hergel. He's so much part of it. He's so much in that inyan. The Oma af, Maila Moisi he's all the time going and increasing. Mailim B'Koides, and he's all the time so much in it that his body just automatically gets attracted and does it. It's an amazing idea. It's absolutely mind-boggling. In other words, it's the other side of hergel. Hergel just means it's a habitual thing by you. The other side of habituality in Kedusha is this madrega, where your body is part and parcel of the Indian so much that it just sort of does it. How do you call it? Pilipla. So everybody will have to give me up just to begin. But what the Rebbe says later in that Gufa, in Oilam Me'aleho, there's also two madrigas. But unfortunately I won't be able to get involved in that at the moment. However, what the point the Rebbe makes is that this Indian from Oilam Me'aleho is a factor which affects all aspects of what he does in the world. And he says you've got to affect even the physical world, that the physical world will become so sunken by the Kedusha that you're feeding it, that the physical world itself will sort of rise up and become a different world. In other words, the Yosid Love, when Mashiach comes, the Dira B'Taktein B'Shleimas, it doesn't mean that the world and Kedusha are going to be two things, like you said before, you have to make a chibur. It's going to be all one thing. Kedusha. He said, you have to affect the world that way. The world has got to elevate itself with the Kedusha, that you give it in a permanency and a unity that is unending and is always going up. That's what there is. Okay, I have to be outside in another 20 minutes.
So take a moment, we'll say L'chaim for Sibia Chaya Bash Shloma.
Okay, right.
I
get the idea. Oina Me'aleho means that it's got to go up and with its own power join into Kedusha and remain permanent. Like I said, the flame is a permanent thing. Physical world. Ay, da 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 da, ya da da ya, ay da ya da 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 da, ay da da da, ay da da da, ya da da da, ya da da, ya da di. It's very interesting that you should realize that this whole concept of do-it-yourself is very well known throughout mankind. Even by the somebody who's able to do it himself, he's not dependent on all sorts of other people and other machines, and he's able to do it. He's considered to be a very fortunate individual. And it's a very profound thing, and that's the whole meaning of Neir Uilo Me Eileho. It's got to be with your own inner potential. And Yesh Loima, that the embassy of do it yourself comes from something very individually essential inside the person himself. It's from what we call in Chassidus the Etzem. Anyway, and therefore it's a perfection. So what was the name of
Ilui Nishmas, Sivya Chaya,
the Ilui Nishmas?
Sivya Chaya, Bas Shlomo Zalman.
Bas Shlomo
Zalman.
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 Bas Shlomo Zalman. So Nisham should have an aliyah, or it should be followed by a Yerida, not Chas Shlomo. But by the Emes Aliyah, they're coming down into the world. Be'ez Hashem.
Amen. Nice. The president, Donald Trump, he has this nature. Donald Trump, the president in the United States, he has this essence, this nature.
What?
Donald Trump, the president.
Yeah.
He has this in him.
Do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
Do it yourself, president.
Huh?
Do it yourself, president.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah. No. How's the saying? Have it? No.
Amen. Chaim.
So we see that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, in the periods that we learned the Shabbat, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai had 5 Talmidim. And the Rebbe later mentions that they are connected to 5 Chumshei Torah. Let's get to the 5 Torah. Dr. Rebbe Yochanan ben Zakkai, that he was like the Koyach HaTorah, Eichud Kedusha, but that is 5. Chamisha Talmud. One of them was Rabbi Yosef HaKoyen. So he used to say praises of his Talmudim, and he said about this Rabbi Yosef HaKoyen, he said, Ashrei Yuladatoy, happy is he or she, or happy are they, that they gave birth to him. Just the very fact that they brought him into the world. That is Ashrei, referring to them. It's more than the tremendous milah that he had. If all he can say is how happy are those who brought him about, But that indicates how incredibly great he must be. You follow? So therefore, we could say now, a slightly borrowed way, but in the same general way, about this lady that she had Rabbi, that he was Baruch Hashem a Yid, that he knew how to use money. It was given to him, and he knew that he was a shliach to assist other great things with the money. Because he not only gave to the shul, he used to give it to other places, generously. As a mela, his mother, she can be said about that, happy is she that she gave birth to such a person. So we see that that's because of the tremendous mila of him, or that causes, as it were, those in the present. And in retrospect, a ashrei, what ashrei meant, like a combination of nachas and oineg and all these great concepts all sort of linked together. And that leads to ashrei yeladate. So like I said, that's a fascinating remark, which includes both the people who brought him about, but that indicates the greatness of him himself. I think that's a few appropriate words about the lady that brought about this Rav and his mother. It's possible to say that Ashrei Yoladate, that happy is she that she had such a man. And like I said, that the more you think about it, it's a very profound implication, because it indicates the greatness of all involved in the matter. And it indicates that the actual birth of bringing somebody into the world is a tremendous schus all the time. And of course, depending on what he does with the curses which are given to him. But once again, we see here that the ultimate perfection is that not only you've given koiches, but you make use of them with your own individual, tremendously inherent power. And that's what happened here. He was given good midas by his parents, but and that is a greatness, but he knew how to use it in the right way. Good. So listen, I just want to make another point. That is, tonight is the eve of Tsfat, B'Sivan. Tsfat, B'Sivan, that is the day or the night that the Frierdiker Rebbe was arrested. In other words, at the beginning, and what you might call the root power of Yud Beis Tammuz is hidden in Tsfat B'Sivan, because that's when the whole thing began. And therefore, B'Yediyah Shalamayla, the Eibush already knew what tremendous implications that would have for not only Yidden in Russia, but therefore Yiddishkeit from them until B'Yis HaMashiach B'Poel Mamish, what it would mean. It means Yud Beis Tammuz, which means a tremendous opening of all the flowering koiches of promoting Yiddishkeit in the whole world. It just shows you that you must never be, how do you call it? You must never be put off by what appear to be difficulties, what appears to be a tremendous setback. If only you just have a little patience and you wait carefully and you study carefully all the inyanim involved, all the inyanim that are occurring, then you realize that it is l'tova. But afterwards, you're able to see not just l'tova, but even ba'ein aruch l'tova, inyanim atum. That we could say is the unbelievable greatness of the Rebbe Rayatz, that he was able to hold things together and he remained with complete awareness and concentration exactly on everything he was doing, even in the most terrible situations, because he knew that this must be only not just a Yorida Tzorech Aliyah, that for sure, but that every prat was only a way to bring unbelievable development and toy into the world. Knowing as he did that he was a Nazi Israel, everything that occurs with a Nazi is more of circumference than what happens by a Ish Ragil. We have to learn from that not to be, that he could put off by what appear to be difficulties and even things which get in the way. Okay, we see that Rebbe could have said, well, this is getting in the way, I just have to, throw in the towel and see if I can't get out of here somewhere. But we see he didn't treat it that way, but he stood firm on every point, because he knew that this was the opening of a whole new beginning. And therefore, when they wanted to let him out at the end of the imprisonment, they said, you're getting on Thursday night. So the Rebbe said, oh yeah, well, when does the train reach over there? So the Rebbe said to him, okay, no, I'm sorry, but I'm not going. So, their eyes jumped out of their heads, and they said, what do you mean you're not going? I said, even they knew that could be tremendously dangerous, because in another hour or two they could change their minds. And to wait a whole Shabbos is another 48 hours before they would actually get things moving. Who knows what's likely to happen, Nothing came, the Rebbe said. Which means that the Rebbe was in charge. He was really, the whole, everything was under his guidance. Why? Because he knew, and he brings out that his father, the Rebbe Rashab, spoke to him on several occasions, appeared to him. It's all amazing story. He knew that this whole thing was only the opening of a whole new expansion, and that if he will reveal his oil and his ner, which is oil then that power will take over, and the inner power of the atom bomb inside the neshama, it can sweep these things aside. And that's exactly what happened. It just doesn't make any sense. The unbelievable power that they had in those days, the communists. It was just, absolute power over life and death. And after we became, the Rebbe not only got out, but he got out on his term. He got out on his term. At the end, when they wanted to send him out, he also made trouble, because he said he's not going without his forum, that. And they had to provide semi-trailers. You guys think I got a few stories? We're talking about thousands of stories. They had to have semi-trailers take the story out. The Rebbe said, I'm sorry. He said, I'm not going unless I have this foreign. What do you mean you're not going with it? So they called up the big window. They spoke on the window, so you could hear what was going on over the phone, And they said to this guy that this guy says he's not going with it. So the answer was, give him whatever he says, the Ike is okay. That's a koyach that a neshama ha'oila me'eile, and that's what we have to take chizuk. Here at Yehuda, we have to take chizuk, we have to be mishchazik. We have to know that all these things that look like setbacks, and it's all really part of the opening of some new door, and we just have to wait patiently and be strong with that nair, which is working away, and that's going to light up the way. It's absolute. By all of us. Each and every one of us in his inyan, and then we're going to stand with the Rebbe, take me out inside the Beis Hamikdash, and we're going to say, look at what we prepared, look at what we worked with. Wasn't it worth it? Chayim. Everybody will forgive me, but I gotta go.
We need to say l'chaim for Rabbi Rappaport's mother, who today is the yahrzeit of the mother, and the importance for us about Rabbi Rappaport's mother is that Rabbi Rappaport in Toronto, he had a desire to take his mother, who became nifter in Toronto, and bury her here in Tzfat. So he arranged the arrangements to bring the roof to Tzfat, and he stayed in the Hotel Hadar, Rabbi Rappaport, and he didn't have any connections here, how to deal with the Beis Chaim or anything. And he met Rabbi Marzel, and Rabbi Marzel helped to make all the arrangements and get a minyan, and kaddish, and for bringing in all the things. And this began the relationship between Rabbi Rappaport and Rabbi Marzel. And from that came this building. So we should say l'chaim, l'chaim, to I don't even know her first name.
Sivya Chaya Bas Shlomo Zalman.
Chaya Bas Shlomo.
Sivya Chaya.
Sivya Chaya
Bas Shlomo Zalman.
Bas Shlomo Zalman. So she should have a big aliyah, and she should finish her aliyah. L'chaim, l'chaim.
Amen.